Hello and welcome everyone. That's Aleksandr VOLOCHNEV, developer advocate at DataStax, and David Chang. We have a very special episode today with K8ssandra certification workshop because recently our team working with K8ssandra made an incredible improvement, and now by DataStax you can get free certifications. Cassandra Administrator, Cassandra Enabled Developer, and now Cassandra Operations on Kubernetes, so K8ssandra certification. And that's a workshop which explains you how do you make it. Hi David, it looks like you did a great job.
Hey Alex, it's good to see you and good to see everybody online. Yeah, we're excited to present this workshop on K8ssandra certification and give you the hints and study materials you'll need to prepare to sit the exam.
Yeah, cool. So if you can see us, if you can hear us, set the thumbs up in the YouTube chat and we will start. We don't want to wait for too long because we have a lot of content to cover today. So don't be shy. Can you hear us? How does that look like? Looks like we are good. Thank you. So what I want to do first is to ask you some questions. Okay? First thing we are going to do today is Menti, and today Menti will consist of 3 parts. In the first part, we ask you questions about yourself. So why you're interested in the topic and so on. That's a setup part, just to make you able to use, make you familiar with Menti, so you will know how it works. Second part is the main part. Now we do an exam today, a probe exam, so you can try it without even registering for the real exam and try to give the answers and see if it's hard for you or if it's easy to you. How do you feel on that? There is a point now. What you will get no certificate for this exam because it's just a probe, just a test. But then you can know you will know what to do on the real exam, so it still will help you a lot. And finally, on the third step, you will give us feedback. So, Menti, how to join the quiz? Very easy. Go to menti.com and enter the code 197206220 or scan the QR code located next to David and join us. First question is live already, so you can answer that as soon as you jump in. I see we have few dozens of viewers right now, so I want everyone to be able to join. And let me see how it goes. And are you answering the question already? Oh, yes. So you are joining and answering, and that's great already. How much experience do you have with Apache Cassandra?
Looks like we have a pretty good range.
Yeah.
Alex, a lot of newcomers too.
Yeah, a lot of newcomers. So take a look. I see some people who never used that. Now, what do you need to know? Cassandra is an incredible distributed NoSQL database which powers a lot of the top world businesses, and it's one of the most powerful, definitely, databases at the moment. So if you want to be more competitive and be a good hiree for companies like Apple, Instagram, Netflix, and all the others who using and developing Cassandra, then Cassandra and related certifications may be a good choice for you. And you know what? DataStax is actually an amazing company. I'm happy working at DataStax because we sponsor education and certification, and you can get your first certificate, or maybe not first one, I don't know, attending our courses and passing our certification absolutely for free. You still have to work hard because it ain't a simple technology, but it's powerful and well paid. That's what matters to me. Now, if you are experienced one, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. So today we work on this workshop to make you able to pass K8ssandra certification, so running Apache Cassandra on Kubernetes. Second question, Have you been to any of our workshops before? Yes, that's the right answer. Yes. Okay, sounds good to me. No, okay, some newcomers as well. Yes, no, no, yes. Okay, so most of you visited our workshops before. That's incredible. But we love all of you. Doesn't matter if you are first comer or here for already second or more times. So if you haven't been on our workshops before, now welcome and take a look at David. David is amazing, but down from David you have like button and subscribe button. That's a very good time to push them. You always can unpress if you will not be happy by the content, but now it's a good moment to push them. Anyway, people are returning and that's amazing. Now, how did you hear about this workshop? That matters a lot for us, so we will know what sound to you and which channel we should use to attend. Now, take a look. You at the page of datastacks.com/workshops, you can find a link to subscribe and you will get an email per workshop, datastacks.com/workshops. There is a link to subscribe and I suggest you to subscribe. That's the best way to not miss the workshop. Notice we do a lot of them and it really matters, so you can attend this K8ssandra workshop. Yes, it matters, but for example, soon we run a real series on event streaming, and event streaming is a really high demand because if you want to build a scalable application, you need to know what's the events, how systems like Kafka or Apache Pulsar or RabbitMQ works, and we explain what is it, how do you use them, and what matters, and how do you make your application scalable with the event streaming applications. So I see when we are getting closer to the end of my questions for the first. Rate your level of Kubernetes expertise. What do you think of Kubernetes? What? I am a Kubernetes expert. I use Kubernetes on a regular basis. I have some Kubernetes experience. What's the Kubernetes? So, some people don't know or have no expertise on Kubernetes. And take a look. This workshop is about running Cassandra on Kubernetes. So if you don't know what the Cassandra is and what the Kubernetes is, this one is going to be rough on you, obviously. But you know what? We have something for you. We have Introduction to Apache Cassandra workshop, which explains everything from the very basics, so you will feel better than today, definitely. And we also have Docker learning path, where we start from Docker basics and end up in the Kubernetes in the 5 steps. Overall, it's like 10 hours of contents and a lot of practical work, but after that you will be completely enabled to use Docker and understand why would you need to use Kubernetes. Okay, so most of you have some Kubernetes experience or more, and that's amazing. That's what we need for today. So, what motivates you to get certified? That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, so, okay. First answer I love the most. Yes, K8ssandra is cool, and it is indeed. But, oh yeah, better job opportunities, bragging rights. I'm required to by my job. But you know what? It's cool. If I'm required by my job, that's cool actually. What your company wants you to be not only capable, but to have the confirmation, the official proof what it's required. And David, what's your favorite answer here? What do you think the best one?
Oh, it's definitely that K8ssandra is cool. Everybody's moving towards Kubernetes, and K8ssandra is the way we put data into Kubernetes in the cloud. So K8ssandra is awesome, and it looks like that might be the #1 or close answer. So
yep.
I think I'm right on track there, Alex.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, better job opportunities, that's very clear to us.
Yep.
So, thank you. And now we want to proceed to the slides. Good. So, all the resources for this workshop are stored at the github.com/datastacks-academy workshop-K8ssandra certification. Actually, I think we better put the link on that. What do you think? GitHub Data Stacks Academy. Was it a long way to develop this workshop, David?
Yeah, it took a little while to develop the workshop, but we've got good content out there. The GitHub has all the information on signing up for the exam, what you need to study for the exam. It has also the same sample questions that we're going to go through today, as well as the correct answers and a short explanation of why they're correct.
Oh, David, I see you put the link already. I just duplicated yours. Thank you. Yeah, okay, it's better. Question there. So if I don't know what Kubernetes something is, should I study your another lessons? So answer is, take a look. We cover multiple workshops for different levels. If you don't know what Kubernetes is, I would suggest to attend first Docker learning series, Docker learning path, because Docker now is one of the most in-demand technologies for developers. Doesn't matter in which field you work, very high chance you will be asked to have at least basics of Docker, and that's what we do in our learning path, go from very basics and to the best practices part. Yep. So when is the repetition session for this topic held? You mean... Okay, oh, Cedric. Hey, Cedric, shouldn't you be on vacation? Get out of here.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Cedric is always here to support us. Yep. Okay. So, repetition session for certification in Cassandra for administrators and developers are on monthly cadence. And for K8ssandra certification, I don't know yet, frankly speaking. David, maybe you have an idea. Are we going to repeat this?
Oh, I don't think we have a plan yet to do it, but I know we will repeat it.
Yeah, so we
Don't
definitely
know the cadence yet.
And now, question from Street Titian about for the repetition. Take a look. Our workshops are over only when you want them to be over. So even if you aren't ready right now, you can watch this recording later and then come with your question to K8ssandra Discord, and then we will answer your questions there. So our workshops over only when you want them to be over. So 4 steps for us today. Why get certified in K8ssandra? Steps for certification, practice exam questions, so practice exam, and resources, what you will need. Oh, and Fuyuko, thank you too. We are developer advocates. Well, that's our job, to care for developers. So, why get certified in K8ssandra, David?
Well, K8ssandra, as we said, is the way that we take Cassandra into Kubernetes and into the cloud. And organizations already have their microservices have been running in the cloud for some time and running in Kubernetes. Data has been slow to make the jump to Kubernetes. But K8ssandra is the way to take Cassandra and Kubernetes Cassandra into Kubernetes into a cloud native environment. It really is the future of data in organizations. Brings data right along where our services have already been. Microservices, we said, are already running in Docker and being orchestrated through Kubernetes. Why not use the same mechanism to manage data?
Yep. Yeah, and that's a very right answer. Then now there is a huge argument on that, because many people, especially from those who work a lot in this field, from the administrators, site reliability engineers, they are strongly against running databases in Kubernetes. And so was I some years ago. So I completely understand and share this opinion, or better to say, was. Because now, as it all develops, would I send my goods by a car in the beginning of 20th century? No, mostly probably I wouldn't. I would use a horse or something like that. But as everything develops, it's like in 1920s and 1930s, it would be already stupid to prefer a horse instead of a car. and everything develops. Now Kubernetes is different like it was just 5 years ago. And now we put data in Kubernetes with pretty clear heart. Okay. So,
and Alex, let
yep.
me jump in.
Yep, sure.
I am gonna dare to disagree with Alex though. Alex, I like horse, but with Béarnaise sauce. But about Kubernetes as well. Remember, Alex said that Cassandra is a distributed, decentralized database, and you could end up with a Cassandra deployment with hundreds or thousands or more nodes. Managing that manually without the orchestration of Kubernetes is a nightmare. So another reason, especially when you get towards internet or global scale, another reason to consider data in Kubernetes using Cassandra.
And there is a great question. Is K8ssandra running open source Cassandra? Do we have a container image for DataStax Enterprise? Do you want to answer to respond to this one, or I will?
Go ahead, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, sure. So K8ssandra, by default, K8ssandra's approach is batteries are included but swappable. It means by default you have everything configured what you may need to have, but if you want to replace it with something, you are very good to go. In our case, it means what, yes, K8ssandra by default uses open source Cassandra, version 3.11 now by default, and we are working to deliver version 4. But I believe, thanks to Cass operator, DataStax Enterprise might be available as well. Currently, I cannot confirm that, but I definitely see us in the future using DSE, even if it's not possible at this moment. I have to double check that. Maybe someone will answer in the chat. So now you all know the benefits of a certification and why you would like to have to be certified. Now, what resources do you have to get ready for that, David?
Well, we have a number of resources. As you look at the top, we have our certification site at datastax.com/dev/certifications. And that describes not just the K8ssandra certification, but the administrator and developer certification, as well as the suggested learning path, the courses that are recommended in order to prepare you for those certifications. Down to the left side of the screen, you see that we have our GitHub repository, and the GitHub repository contains the nuts and bolts of how to sign up, how to prepare, as well as the sample exam that we'll be looking at and taking during this session. Finally, we have our training at academy/datastax.com. And there at Academy, we have more core Cassandra training than specific K8ssandra training. But if you follow through at the certification site, you will see a link, and I will give it to you here in a minute, unless Cedric beats me to it, to our learning series on, it's called Apache Cassandra Operations on Kubernetes. And that it uses the O'Reilly Katacoda site. So it gives you a web-based interface where you can actually go and create a Kubernetes cluster with a Cassandra cluster running in it and do that hands-on, all in your browser without having to download anything. And walking through that is probably the best presentation, or the best preparation for this exam. And I'll share the link up here in just a minute.
Yep. Thank you. So indeed, you see we have you covered, and again, those are, at least at this moment of a time, available for free. Some more things to discuss is the community.datastax.com and chat. So forum, community.datastax.com is kinda a Stack Overflow for Cassandra and related technologies questions. So we will be happy to see your questions there and answer them. Then second one, if you prefer not so much of a forum experience, but more of a chat experience, there is a Discord server where you can talk to us at datastacks.io/Discord. And actually, our Kubernetes, our K8ssandra team has a dedicated Discord. We will put into the YouTube chat link as well. Now, steps for certification. First one, go to datastacks.com/devs/certifications, read through the material and take special note on the exam rules and process sections. Exams are proctored. So that's a real solid certification which is validated, which is proctored. My personal mistake, what I did when passing my Cassandra certifications, I was too much in a rush and my office was looking pretty bad. I mean, like not really cleaned well and so on and so forth. And then Proctor asked me to show with web camera the whole room, so he will see what there is no one to give me some suggestions to help me with the exam. It's not allowed, of course. And I was like, I'm so sorry. It's like so dirty here. Shame on me. So don't be like me. Be ready what you will be watched via web camera during the exam, and you will have to show your ID, and you aren't allowed to drink or eat during the exam, and exam takes some time, and so on and so forth. So all the rules I explain it in the exam rules and process section. Read them thoroughly. Don't run into the troubles. We are taking very seriously those certifications. We want them to be available only to those who really work hard and know their things. And we don't want people to get them just for fun. So it's pretty strict rules. No one will be able to help you on the exam. No books, only one monitor, and so on and so forth. Hey, David? What's my next
and
one?
A note on that one monitor thing. It's okay to have multiple monitors or external monitor. You just have to turn all but one off. I take the exams on a laptop with an external monitor, and my second external monitor I power down, and the laptop lid is closed. So only one monitor active at a given time. So if you go to the certifications page, you'll see this Start Learning link. And that's really the same link that I gave you in the chat that will take you to the Katacoda-based learning series on Apache operations in Kubernetes. And as I said, it lets you do all this stuff. It's pretty cool because you can create a Kubernetes cluster and deploy a Cassandra cluster in it, all in your browser. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to download a VM or anything like that. So it's a really good way to be guided hands-on through the process of using Kubernetes and Cassandra together in K8ssandra.
Yep. And there is a great question in YouTube by Tony. I really want to answer. Is the exam free for now? Answer is no, exam is not free, but there's always a but. DataStax covers the certification for you. And what do we have to do to get this voucher, David?
To get the voucher, you have to complete the learning series using the link I gave you or the link on this page. And then you send an email to academy@datastacks.com letting us know that you've completed the learning series, and we will give you a voucher. A note, that voucher is good for 2 attempts at this or any of our other certification exams. So if you pass this exam on the first try, boy, I hope you do, you would have 1 more free voucher that you could use to take our certified Cassandra developer or certified Cassandra administrator exams. And just to note, there's been some discussion both in Discord and on the YouTube chat about DSE. The exams today are all based on open source Cassandra and open source K8ssandra. There's no DSE specific content in any of our current certification exams.
Yep. Okay then. Is there any prerequisites for this exam? David?
There's no prerequisites for the exam. You don't have to be certified as a Cassandra developer or administrator to take this exam. This exam stands alone. There might be some benefit to having the Cassandra administrator certification, but there's not a requirement to do that. So this can be your very first Cassandra certification.
Yeah.
Sharath, I see unable to download the slide deck PDF. Try later today. We'll fix the link in there and make the slide deck PDF available to you.
Yep, exactly. Okay. So, step 3, Apache Operations in Kubernetes learning series consists of 9 interactive kata scenarios. There are also 2 recorded workshops if you need an introduction to Kubernetes or Cassandra on Kubernetes. So, we have introduction on Kubernetes. You see those are specified for Kubernetes background. Mine, intro to Kubernetes. But you need to have understanding of Docker, at least, in order to get something from this workshop. And if you don't have understanding of Docker, well then, this Intro to Kubernetes workshop is a part of Docker learning path. So you can pass it from the beginning. It will be useful, even if you will never, after that, use Kubernetes or Cassandra. Docker is definitely a new industry standard in the containerization world. Then second workshop suggested here is connecting Apache Cassandra in Kubernetes, delivered by Cedric Lundven, Director of Developer Advocacy at DataStax, and I also very recommend you this one. And then finally, Apache Cassandra operations in Kubernetes. So 9 interactive kata scenarios available, and those are great. What I would really suggest you, if you're going to take it very seriously and become a Cassandra administrator operator on Kubernetes, you will also need Cassandra operations certification, which is on the same conditions available at the academy.datastax.com, free educational courses, and then you get the voucher to pass the certification. Basically, single voucher should be enough for the both certifications, for Cassandra specific administration and K8ssandra specific administration, because it's kinda going to be hard to you to manage Cassandra on Kubernetes if you don't know Cassandra basics.
Yeah, and I see, Alex, we have a question from Nikhil. Nikhil asks, is there something to get the look and feel for the exam? Well, Nikhil, in the sample questions we're going to give here, these will show you the types of questions that we're going to ask on the exam. And also on the GitHub page, there is a link so you can look at the same questions, same questions, same answers, but using the actual exam interface with the third-party exam company that we use. So we want to give you every opportunity to understand how the exam is going to be offered, so that doesn't trip you up and you can focus on your knowledge as opposed to how does this silly interface work. So yes, that's definitely available to you.
Good. So as you complete Apache operations in Kubernetes, Apache Cassandra operations in Kubernetes learning series, you get the voucher. David, do they need to email academy@datastax.com or it's somehow automated, I believe?
No, they'll need to email academy@datastax.com.
Okay, okay. So as explained here, get your exam voucher. Very well. And if something goes wrong and you don't get a voucher, contact me at LinkedIn, or actually feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I will be happy to answer and we will make it happen to you. But well, usually it works seamlessly, so I never got any complaints on that. And final step, take your exam. Get ready to rock, and full details on the exam are described at the DataStax Academy Workshop Cassandra certification on GitHub. Good. Can we have that email address here? David, would you please?
Yep, I'm putting it in right now.
Yep. But again, don't worry, you will always, we will always make it happen to you. That's actually a pretty cool thing, because this certification for K8ssandra is just started. So if you will pass that, if you will make it, you are going to be one of the first K8ssandra specialists in the world. I find it pretty cool, actually. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope several of you do that, because I think, as of last week, I was the only person certified in K8ssandra in the entire world, and I'm feeling very lonely.
Okay.
So several of you have to take the certification and join me.
So you are number one K8ssandra certified specialist. That's cool. Okay, so let's make some work to make a company for David. I'm going to be in the list for sure. And yeah, we will get to you soon. I see like mood in the team is already pretty high, so we will make it. So now demo the process. What's we again are going to show to you here is datastacks.com/dev certifications. Let me switch on that and make it big to you. Yep. So, and a little bit more. Yep. DataStax certification page. There is a question from Giri Prasad. How long the certifications are valid? David?
The certifications do not expire, but we may, as new versions of K8ssandra or Cassandra come out in the future, for example, for our developer and administrator certifications, we are in discussions about updating to a version 4 certification for Cassandra 4. So you'll be certified on K8ssandra 1.0 forever when you pass this, but in the future we may update the certification for new versions.
Yep. So no expiry date, but well, then all the world will be using Cassandra version 4, and you will be certified for Cassandra version 3. You may feel a little bit outdated. So then go pass certification for Cassandra version 4. Good. So that's the main page for us to do. To be is to meet all the requirements. Here you have certification details. Here you have rules and process. And what should I do and how to prepare. There are explanations for the administrator certification and developer certification. And also Apache Cassandra operations in Kubernetes learning series we are talking about today. And there is this fancy start learning button. And as I'm clicking here, you have this Apache Cassandra operations in Kubernetes. So our team made incredible work delivering you those topics, and you will have to walk through them. You will not only meet K8ssandra, but also get will meet all the technologies required what are delivered as the parts of K8ssandra, because by itself database is not enough. You need to know all the tools you use to run the maintenance operations. How do you backup? How do you keep consistency with repairs? How do you care of the APIs? Because you know what? Actually, Cassandra is amazing, and in K8ssandra is very clear. You may run, maintain, and operate only one database, single database, less headache for operations teams. But you may have 4 different APIs for your developing teams to work with. It's not only Cassandra query language, but also REST API, Document API, and GraphQL to make you able to work with the data. So less databases, more APIs. K8ssandra is not a database, but a data platform on Kubernetes to solve multiple problems. So that's one is amazing. So, and basically this, everything what you need to know, this page describes all the steps you need to do, and then you just choose the lesson you want to fit. Introduction, deploy a sample application with Cassandra in Kubernetes. Start lesson, read through the text, watch their slides. Oh, fancy slides actually. You guys really did incredible job working on this one. I'm just really excited. Great. And as you read through, as you watch all the steps, now Finally, in the end, you are going to have skill building part. That means practice. And again, normally to work with Kubernetes, you need Kubernetes. And it involves pretty a lot of steps to do to prepare that. But you know what? Data stacks. I love data stacks. You just push the button, start scenario. And you need to wait a little bit for Katacoda. That's an O'Reilly project we are partnering with. We'll prepare this environment for you in your browser, well, in the cloud and in your browser. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to install Kubernetes. It's not easy if you ever try to, like it involves pretty a lot of steps. You don't have to install any kubectl or other tools you need to manage Kubernetes. It's all here already. You just have to wait for a minute. And in the end, you have running in Kubernetes cluster and you do all the steps exactly in your browser. Working with Katacoda is incredibly easy. You just read through those deploy, K8ssandra and the pet clinic application. Read through. There are some suggestions for those who want to learn the most. Then you just click here and there is an, how do you call them? Spoilers or parts of a text which open more. Okay, what is kind? I want to know. Boom, you have it, and so on and so forth. And then to execute the steps, you have two options. If you prefer to do everything on your own manually, you can just go and type it on your own with your keys. Or if you want to be on a higher pace and you don't want to type every command on your own, you just click those blocks. I cannot show it right now because step 5 is not completed yet. I will show you as soon as it's ready. You click on this block and you have this command executed on the right part. And that's incredible. So you read and execute the commands, typing them or pushing those buttons. You have the command to deploy a demo pet clinic app. If you have Java background, you maybe have heard about this application already. It's a demo application. Okay, but I want to know how does Kubernetes uses YAML files like pet clinic YAML. Click this and read about that. And you even can execute a command and see what's included into the pet clinic YAML file and so on and so forth. Okay, that's step 6. So right part is almost ready. It takes time.
Let me jump in for a second.
Sure.
Alex. And just to warn you, when you walk through this learning series, while we do the core setup or basic setup for you, as you can see, it does take some time. There is a lot of work going on in the background to get the environment up and running. There was a question from, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Giri Prasad. It says, apart from the CAS operator, which components are exclusive to Kubernetes only? And I guess I read that wrong. I thought you said exclusive to K8ssandra only, and I was going to say none of them are exclusive to K8ssandra only. K8ssandra packages the CAS operator and several of the other tools, as Alex mentioned, to do repairs and monitoring and so on, backup together into one package, because you need more than just the database to really do data in Kubernetes. So apart from the CAS operator, which components are exclusive to Kubernetes only, there's a Reaper operator in there, but Reaper is not exclusive to Kubernetes. Grafana, Prometheus also are used with Cassandra and elsewhere outside of Kubernetes. So K8ssandra really just packages, it's the crucial tools that you need to run a massive scale production Cassandra deployment, but none of them are specifically Kubernetes or K8ssandra oriented. Just K8ssandra packages them together and makes it easy. Yeah, and that's what I love about K8ssandra, because this stuff is very complex, lots of moving parts to configure it on your own. But K8ssandra does it for you, and that's great.
Yeah, absolutely with you. So, all the components are open source, and all the components are available for plain Apache Cassandra, for example. But K8ssandra is doing great work making it all together. If you will ever go to K8ssandra.io site and see how much the job K8ssandra automates or visit our K8ssandra workshop, much recommended. You will see like what a huge work is automated for you, and you don't have to push the buttons manually. Okay, so my terminal is ready and I'm able to show you a couple of things. First one, you just push this button and the command will be executed here automatically. First command we use is to helm install K8ssandra cluster from K8ssandra with some setup values from config values.yaml file. And if you never used Helm before, Helm is a great tool. It's like a package manager, but for Kubernetes applications. If you ever use it apt-get or yum or whatever you prefer on Linux, it's kind of the same, but for Kubernetes. And what's happening on there? We can take a look. Watch kubectl get pods. And I see what's going on in my Kubernetes cluster. I see what K8ssandra is being deployed, and we see how much of the things is included. Cas operator to automate Cassandra things. First, stateful set, which is a Cassandra node. Stargate, which provides you multiple APIs to deliver more options to communicate with Cassandra for your development teams. Grafana and Kubernetes to watch monitoring on that. And repair operator to take care of the repair operations for Cassandra. And now some of you might be asking, like, guys, that's pretty a lot. I'm not going to have all of that on my cluster. And my answer is yes, sure, batteries are included by swappable and you can pull them out completely if you don't need them. So it's for you to decide what do you want to have running and just explain it into the configuration file. For example, you see here we were using config values YAML file, and I can simply say cat config values YAML file, and I see what we have Stargate enabled. You don't need that, you disable it. You have a kubeprometheus stack with Prometheus and Grafana. Maybe you already have Prometheus and Grafana in your Kubernetes cluster. When you don't need ours, switch them off, and so on and so forth. So there is plenty of options for you to learn. Then you're done with the step one. So walk through all of it. You just push continue button and you switch to step two. So I'm not going to walk through all the steps here for you because you have to do it on your own. Okay. I think we are good with live demo, and we are good to switch to the questions. Demo exam. What do you think, David?
I think we're ready. That was a great overview of the steps and the learning series. Appreciate that, Alex.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like we should help our developers to be the best, and the best way to do it is to just show them how to start, and they will do rest of the work. So then let me switch back to the practice exam questions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, get back your mobile phones if you are using them for Menti, and you will have to answer questions, and that's a demo exam, so don't be afraid to fail. No one will punish you, but we will definitely congratulate you if you do well. And if you see what you not good enough in a field of a question, then record it down and learn on that, pass the proper courses. You see, we prepared everything for you. Now you just put your time into that. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Pass the certificate, pass the exam, and you are certified. So yeah, David, absolutely, that's the fun part. This one is my favorite one. So let me switch to the quiz time. There will be 15 questions from different parts of exams. Those are not exactly the questions from the exam, but they're very, very, very close. So you will understand what's the exam, how it looks like, and what's important for you to know. And Menti code is 19720620, or use the QR code next to David. Do we have a course for K8ssandra in DataStax Academy portal? David?
We do not have a course in the Academy format, which is video followed by a quiz and downloadable VM to do the work in. Instead, we have the Katacoda format, so you can do the work right there in the cloud.
Yep, exactly. I mean, having all what we have for it, maybe it will be easy to include it as a course to the Academy, just reusing Katacoda scenarios. I would love to have it all together at the Academy. Academy is great, so we should extend that, but doesn't matter for now. So, quiz time, and we are about to start right now. And here is the question. Oops, I have to switch. Oops. So, practice exam questions. Yeah. Question 1. Which is a valid statement about security in a Cassandra cluster named cluster 1 created with Cass operator? Answer A. Cass operator will not enable security in a cluster. Answer B. Cass operator will create a super user with username Cassandra. Cass operator will create a super user with a username cluster1 super user. And the Cass operator will create a super user based on credentials defined in the YAML file. Now please give your answers and I will try to do mine. So I will see how much time left. Where is my Menti? Menti. I actually want to have some music there. So, boom. A little bit of funny music to keep you smiling while answering. And Menti.
I wish my professors had provided music in college during exams.
That sounds great. So good. 1972 0620.
Alex, you see the comments? Some people are saying Menti says they didn't vote in time.
Maybe. As we don't play any swag today, I'm something wrong with Menti. It says you didn't vote in time. For me as well. And you know what? Give me a moment. I want to check one thing. I have to check one thing. Oops, sorry. Present. Yep. Okay. Now let me take a look on that. 90. Okay, we are good on time. You know what? I will just restart this question, okay? So because people were not able to answer on time, I will run it again. Nope. Okay. Sorry, everyone. I know how to fix that. I just need a moment. K8ssandra.
And Rory, Menti won't show the entire question because the text is too long for the mobile screen. It'll just show you the options A, B, C, and D, which you may answer.
So, give me a moment.
Yeah, if Evgeny, we will reopen the quiz questions in just a little bit. So
yeah, give me a moment. So you know what?
Yeah.
The only way for me to re-ask this question one will be to restart presentation, which will lead to a new Menti code and basically ruin the story, and we all will have to re-log in. So what I suggest, we will proceed starting from the question 2, okay? And I will give you the right answer now. And David, could you please explain that?
Sure. For the first question, it's about security in a cluster created with the K8ss operator. First off, the K8ss operator does create a secure Cassandra cluster, and by secure we mean authentication and authorization is enabled. If you install Cassandra outside of the K8ss operator, the default super username is Cassandra. That would have been answer B. But C is the correct answer because the K8ss operator creates a super user with a name that's a combination of cluster one, or of the cluster name, and then the keywords or the name super user. So C is the correct answer here.
Yep, perfect. So I will try to proceed to the question 2. Yep, and the question 2 is, which two are required to create a cluster with the K8ss operator? Choose two. Data center name, storage class, key store, rack name, or a cluster name. And I'm starting the quiz on this step.
Also in Menti, I believe you can only choose one answer. So even though there are two correct answers, so choose one of the correct answers and you'll be credited in Menti with answering this correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also notice, since these questions someone still got the didn't vote in time, Alex, I must have sent the Menti up incorrectly somehow.
Yeah, so I see what now everything is fine. Maybe it's legacy from the last question. Just refresh what you have right now, okay? And it should be fine for you. I don't see any problems right now, sorry.
Okay. Another note on these questions, the purpose of this exam is to show you the types of questions we ask, the format of the questions, so there's no surprises on the exam. In this question, anytime we ask a question that has more than one answer, we will tell you how many are correct. So you don't have to guess. Is it 1, 2, or we'll never say choose all correct. We will always say which 2 or which 3, and then we'll close by saying choose 2. So we'll always let you know twice. In this case, there are 2 correct answers, and we've made that clear. Girish asked, do we get the voucher for the certification? And the answer is, after you complete the Katacoda Learning Series, send that email to academy@datastacks.com, and we'll send it to you.
Okay, so how it goes? Question 2 is complete, and oops, yep.
Well, let's see the results.
Yeah, let's see the results. My question is, there are my results. They are here. Yep. Okay. So quite a distribution.
Oh, but a lot of people got it right.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, let's look at the answer.
Yep. So let's look at the answer. And answer is storage.
Yeah, the answers. Yep. Yeah, the correct answers are B and E. And I noticed a lot of people had a data center name. That's actually not required. You don't have to define a data center in Cassandra. Now, in real life, you often will, but you do not have to do that. Clusters have to have a name. That's a minimum. And you need a storage class because we need to figure out, we're operating in Kubernetes. We need to determine where to store stateful data. Databases are inherently stateful. They'd be useless if they weren't. So we need to define a storage class. The data center definition in Cassandra is extremely useful, but it's actually optional. Rack is a subset. It's another logical grouping of nodes. It's a subset of a data center, also optional. And key store really is not required for anything here either. So you must define a storage class and a cluster name. Answers B and E are correct here.
Okay, so let us move on. And that's a question 3. Which two are valid statements about containers running in the same Kubernetes pod? Choose 2. Container in a pod always run in different hardware or virtual machines. Container in a pod always share network resources. Containers in a pod always run in the same hardware or virtual machine. Containers in a pod always run the same application. Containers in a pod always expose ports outside of the Kubernetes cluster. And I'm starting this question. I don't know, David, if we have to chat or it will distract our attendees. And there is a question, can you send the link for Katacoda? So the main link you need to know is datastacks.com certifications, yeah? Let me check.
Yep.
Oops, certification. My bad. Nope. There is my mistake. Get certified. /dev/certification. That was my mistake. So that's the link. Girish, that's the link for certification information. And there downstairs, you have the link to start practice steps. Okay. So time is almost over. On the exam, you don't have a time limit per question, only for the whole exam. And what about the results? Most of you gave answers B and C, and that's pretty right. Very minor count on mistakes. That's amazing. So, what's the answer?
Very good.
David?
Yeah, the correct answers are B and C. A pod may house multiple containers, and containers in pods share network resources and run on the same hardware or virtual hardware. Keep in mind, in this question, there's a word we used here in the answers, and that word is always. When we use a word like always in the quiz or in the actual exam, it's very specific. And you'll need to watch for that, because you may say, well, it could in some cases. No, we're saying, is this always true? So just make sure that you don't get tripped up by that specificity in the exam.
Yeah.
But good job in answering this one.
Yeah, very well done, everyone. And before we proceed, now let me take it serious. We put pretty a lot into that. We did, and the K8ssandra team did really great on developing these scenarios on Katacoda and so on and so forth. But now I see on YouTube 53 concurrent viewers and 16 likes. I don't get it, so please fix it by the next question. And meanwhile, I'm starting with question 4. And question 4 is, which two Kubernetes operators are included in K8ssandra? Choose 2. CAS operator, Reaper operator, Stargate operator, Docker operator, or Helm operator. And I'm starting the quiz.
Alex, I forgot this question was in here because we actually gave the answer away earlier.
Really?
As we were talking about another topic. Yep.
So what should I do now?
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. So we start with question 4.
Yes.
Okay, good.
But in our earlier discussion, we let the answer slip. So.
Okay.
if you were listening, you might have heard the answer.
Yeah, but I mean, that's completely fine. That's just a demo exam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was scared like it's something big, serious.
Oh.
Okay.
No.
Okay. No. Good. We are good.
And of course, these questions are not actually from the exam, but they're designed to be very similar to the questions on the exam.
Yeah. Okay, and meanwhile, I see already 22 likes. That's something. That's already something. That's getting closer to the trap. And we are good. So, in general, I love operators. Operators are doing so many work for me, and I'm a lazy engineer. I don't like manual work, and operators is automating so much things. So I'm happy they're doing that. So I can get my coffee and see how it all works, just relaxing in a chair while operator is doing all the work. And still it's me who is getting salary, not CAS operator. That's amazing. Cool. So time is almost over. Yeah, lazy engineers are the best engineers. I completely agree. So, loading the results, and I'm switching to the results at this moment then. Let's take a look. Oops, wrong side. Yeah. So, right answers were A and B. Menti doesn't allow us to require both, so both options are correct. And let's take a look at the explanation.
Yeah, so the correct answers are the CAS operator, and the CAS operator installs Cassandra in Kubernetes. So that one's kind of the easy one. And the other one is Reaper. Reaper is the tool that helps you manage repairs in the Cassandra cluster. In particular, lets you do repair scheduling and stuff. That's the other operator. There is no Stargate operator. And Docker and Helm really aren't part of K8ssandra. They're used by K8ssandra, most definitely, but they're not actually a part of K8ssandra, nor are there Docker or Helm operators. They are, Docker's the containerization framework, and Helm is more like a Yum or an app, something like that. But they are different kinds of animals altogether. So CAS operator and Reaper operator are the two. Stargate, as I said, there is no Stargate operator.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I have a special question to you, out of scope of K8ssandra, but still it's pretty interesting if someone has an idea. Reaper is doing great job helping Cassandra to keep data consistent and have all the kinds of repairs under control. But do you know who originally developed Reaper? You know this company, and with a big fat chance you or at least some of your friends are the clients of this company. It's like very well known in the world. Could you try to guess who has developed Reaper originally? I will give you like 10 seconds to answer just in the YouTube chat. Very easy. So time is running. Who will give the best answer? Try to guess. Don't think too long. You know this name.
I used them this morning.
Yeah, I used it just... Oh, Evgeny Ignatiev was the fastest one. And
Yep.
that's the right answer. So, it's not Apple. It was Spotify who developed and contributed to the community Reaper, which takes care of Cassandra. And then it was supported and developed by TLP, the last people, including Alex Dejanovsky. Alex, that's correct, but originally it was developed by Spotify. Actually, I just learned it yesterday watching one of your past workshops. That's amazing. Thank you so much. We just enjoy that. Okay, so not to waste too much time, I'm ready to actually, I want to show you something. Let's speak on the question number 5. And what's the question number 5? Which three are features of Medusa? scheduled backups, single node backup, differential backups, cluster-wide backup, single node restore. Which three are features of Medusa? Actually, David, you know what? I believe we need to have one more option to answer here. Feature of Medusa, I believe, was to petrify adventurers.
Yes.
Yeah, we need this answer, like we are missing one of the features of Medusa here. And now I'm starting quiz on that. So I believe you are ready, and we go. And meanwhile, an unanswered question from Rosenjit. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. How much you need to score to pass the exam? David?
You're required to get a score of 70% on the exam to pass. And there are 60 questions on the exam. You're given 1 hour to complete the certification exam. So you need to score 70% of 60 would be 42.
Perfect. So time goes by, and that is interesting how many of you've answered it already. The answer is 42. Yeah, that's a good answer, definitely. And meanwhile, while we are waiting for the time to be over, what I wanted to say, I'm so happy to see how different companies, competitors in the real life, meanwhile working together, developing Cassandra or essential components for it. Apple, Huawei, Netflix, and many others are putting so many efforts, is not only to use, but to develop it. It really makes me happy. We, as a human beings, still able to collaborate. That's what's quite exciting. So, let's take a look at the results. What do you think? Oops. Yeah. And that's it. B, C, and E for question number 5. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. The first answer, A, is wrong. Medusa doesn't support scheduling of backups. It's not a scheduler. But what it does is Medusa is associated with a single node. So it can back up the single node. It can back up the differences or deltas in a single node, differential backup, and it can restore a single node. But it doesn't have a scheduler, nor does it have cluster-wide backup capability. To do that, you can schedule backups and you can do them cluster-wide, but you need some sort of external orchestration to make that happen with Medusa. Yep. Medusa is really focused on the individual node.
What I'm to add there, actually that's really good. What Medusa doesn't support scheduled backups, because there are other tools to support scheduling in Kubernetes in ecosystem. So you can manage Medusa with them, and it's better not to reinvent the bicycle. We already have the bicycle, which is pretty good one. So better use Kubernetes native schedulers. And cluster-wide backup would be a completely different story, especially for huge overloaded clusters. So correct answers are B, C, and E. And question number 6. Which Docker commands create a Docker network and run Cassandra in a container using this network? And I will not read that out loud, because, well, you can read it on your own, okay? It's on the screen. And meanwhile, I'm switching to start with question number 6 for you. And we are starting this one. Oh, Jerry Prasad asks, can you name few external orchestrators for Medusa? Take a look. I haven't heard of external orchestrator for Medusa. Maybe they exist, maybe they not publish it as an open source at least, but the story is with single host databases like traditional relational SQL databases, you may need backups for disaster recovery, not survival but recovery, for the operations when you have lost your data center and you have to recover in the second one, and so on. With Cassandra, it's a pretty rare case, because even if a whole data center is wiped out, you usually able to switch to a second one, as Cassandra is active multi-cloud deployment with multiple DC support out of the box, and very easy to run it in this mode. So the situation you really may need backups for Cassandra usually is about when some developer accidentally delete some customer data. So not from the disasters or problems like that, but from wrong deletion or the situation like that. And the answer is the cluster-wide backup is a very complicated story here. Yep, so, okay, we have to switch to the results, and let me get there. And most of you answer it correctly. Correct answer is A, not C. And no one answered B or D, which is good. So let us take a look at the answers.
Yeah, and this one is just a syntax question about Docker. Docker network create is the correct command to create a Docker network. So that ruled out B and D right away. And then when you do Docker run and you create, when you create a new Docker container with Docker run, you specify the network with the -- network switch. So A was the correct answer. As I said, most of you got A. And those of you who got C, like I said, you understood the Docker network create part and just had a slight syntax error in the Docker run command. So good job on that. Sounds like, well, many said they didn't know Kubernetes. Sounds like pretty decent Docker knowledge in the group.
Yep. So, and if you gave the wrong answer, we have a Docker learning path done, and it's still available in the recording. Maybe we will repeat it one day, but don't wait. Our Docker learning path is amazing. So, what happens next? And the next one is going to be Leaderboard. And let me see at your points. Now for usually our quizzes are also competitive from the time point of view. You have to answer fast to get more points. But not this one. For every correct answer, if you gave it on time, you get 1000 points. And now I congratulate Jerry, Skids, Aparnv, Daniel M, Elza and Gabans for 5000 points. Considering fail at first question, it makes you giving 5 correct answers out of 5 questions. And that's an incredible job. And don't worry if you are not on the top. It's a very new experience for you, so you have to learn something to get to the top. And that's fine, and that's fair. So, and that brings me to question 7. How do clients authenticate to the Stargate Auth API using table-based authentication authorization? Username and password, two-way SSL TLS, SAML token, GBT. And I'm starting quiz on this one. That's for sure will be a hard one for the most of you, and that's completely fine, because, well, K8ssandra and Stargate are new technologies, but you will be good on them very soon.
I tell you, Alex, looking at that leaderboard, I'm pretty sure I will not be the only person in the world certified in K8ssandra for long.
Yeah, they're doing really good. That's a great one.
I won't be lonely.
So question 7 is almost over. And just 15 seconds left. Oops. And time is up, and well, distribution shows what that was indeed pretty complicated question. That's fine.
Yes.
So let's take a look at the answer.
Yeah, as Alex said, Stargate's a new technology and you may not be familiar with it. JWT was possibly a good answer because Stargate does support JWT authentication, but not using table-based authentication. JWT is an alternative to table-based authentication. Stargate doesn't support SAML or two-way SSL as an authentication mechanism. Instead, what happens is you send username and password in the table-based authentication version, and after receiving your username and password, what Stargate will send back to you, or Cassandra will send back to you via Stargate, an auth token, and you'll return that auth token with your subsequent requests. So it is token based after an initial username and password auth, unless you use the JWT auth from the beginning. So the correct answer here was A, and as Alex said, don't feel bad about this one. This is new technology. It's also really cool technology. Stargate, as Alex said earlier, Stargate's how you get the document API, the REST API, and GraphQL, in addition to CQL access to Cassandra. So very, very cool.
Yep. I have an interesting story. Do you want to hear a story?
That sounds cool.
Sure. So take a look. Stargate by itself is not a new approach, and quite a long time already known story, but not under this name. Idea, I know at least one company, big company using this one, call it Yelp. Their situation was Yelp is big, and Yelp is having a lot of developers team, and they are huge Cassandra users, of course, but every time they need to make new team able to use Cassandra, it meant what they have to get this team and send them to learn Cassandra query language, data modeling, and all the other things. So it's a powerful tool, but power comes with some implications, let's say. You need to learn. That's fine as you're getting better salary, but still. And their idea was to try to simplify it somehow. And they found out what actually, in the most of the cases, not maybe in the most of the cases, but in many of the cases, they don't need all the power of Cassandra query language. They're perfectly fine working with APIs like REST. So create object, read object, update object, delete object. RESTful APIs, you know, and also document API. So document-based APIs, you maybe have heard something about Mongo, same idea, and people already know how it works. So Stargate, or those times, the approach by Yelp was known as Apollo. It's now, they are migrating to Stargate, and pretty happy of that. Was to still use the same database, but give multiple ways to communicate with that to their developer teams, and it saved so much time and efforts to them. So Yelp completely happy of Stargate, and they're using it for most of the projects. It was very well reported recently on the Cassandra Global Meetup we did with them. You may find a recording, Cassandra at Yelp, on our DataStax Developers channel on YouTube. So, are you ready for the question number 8? How does Prometheus communicate with Cassandra? GMX, SNMP, TLS, UDP. That's going to be pretty interesting, and I'm about to switch to the question 8. That's kind of, for someone familiar with networks, those answers sound pretty funny, sorry. No questions in the YouTube chat. Looks like we are doing good job, David.
Yeah, I noticed we haven't had a question for a little while there.
Yeah. Everyone is focused on the quiz. Sorry, we usually have some special prizes for the winners. Not this time, but your prize will be your better salary as you get certified. I believe that this one is good enough to me. Okay, a little bit more time. Yeah, I believe some of our attendees will be, how does Prometheus communicate with Cassandra? From the what? What's that Prometheus? If you never heard of Prometheus, please write about that in the YouTube chat. I'm just curious. And in general, Prometheus is a great thing. It's a part of Grafana Prometheus stack delivering metrics, statuses, let's say, of your database. Okay, so it's done. And let me take a look. How did you do with answers? And correct answer is answer A. So basically it means what Prometheus communicate with Cassandra via GMX. David?
Yeah, looks like the answers were all over the place. I'm actually surprised that B wasn't higher in the list of answers versus the others. It comes down to knowing what Prometheus is. As Alex said, Prometheus is a tool that's used with Grafana as part of the stack to interrogate Cassandra instances and find out their status and so on. The two protocols listed here that do that or they're used for that primarily are SNMP and JMX. So those might have been the two reasonable answers. Understanding that Cassandra is a Java application, the native protocol for managing Java applications and the JVM itself has always been JMX. X is an X-ray in Java. In fact, when you use SNMP with Java, the SNMP agent monitoring whatever Java app you're running is ultimately using JMX natively to talk to it. So JMX is the protocol that's used currently from Prometheus.
Yep. And there is an incredible question in the YouTube chat. I just love that. Achil Saho asks, how can Cassandra certification can help students? So take a look. Before, and we explained it very well in our last workshop, so you might watch the recording, Intro to NoSQL, last week. Before, the main databases for the software development were relational databases. But world has changed, requirements has changed, and now NoSQL databases are more and more on this playfield. And Cassandra is, out of all the NoSQL databases, one of the most powerful. And it's definitely on top of the scalable, capable storage solutions. Basically, what Cassandra certification can do for you, just help you to get better job. As certification proves you are capable of working with Cassandra, and Cassandra is in high demand. If you work really hard, if you learn a lot, if you pass the certifications, Cassandra certification as our certification will help you to get better job from the very beginning, which is great. But take a look. I work in software development for close to 18 years already, and certifications for junior roles, after maybe not even juniors, but anyway, certifications, jobs after the university immediately We usually don't speak of the lead engineering roles. Certifications help you to get to the interview. But if on the interview you don't answer any questions, they will not save you. So certification and pass the exam is not a ticket to get to the best job. You still have to be able to pass through the interview. But it's definitely helpful to get to this interview. That's what I would say. And David, would you somehow doubt or agree with my answer?
Yeah, and like Alex, I've been in the industry a long time, but for me, it's over 30 years.
Yeah.
And when you look at resumes from new students, they all look exactly the same. They've all taken the same classes and so on. So having certification in a current and growing technology makes your resume stand out. As Alex said, it may not, having certification won't get you a job, but if I'm doing the interviewing, it might get you to sit in front of me or across Zoom from me and get the interview. You still have to prove to me that you can do the job, but that makes your resume stand out, especially if you are a junior or even a student just entering the field. It's really helpful there.
Yeah, that's very well said, David. I'm completely agreeing. And a question from Giri Prasad. So, are the custom Prometheus exporter packaged along with K8ssandra? When we integrate with external Prometheus, what configuration we should include? So, take a look. If you ask this question, that means what you haven't seen our K8ssandra workshop before, because answer to the first question is definitely yes. Cassandra works with Prometheus and Grafana absolutely seamlessly. You push the button deploy, you get Cassandra metrics in Grafana as just as a magic. If you don't want to use built-in Grafana and Prometheus, if you have them already in your Kubernetes deployments, that of course makes sense. Then frankly speaking, I cannot answer that right now. But again, no, you know what? We better discuss it on Discord or at the community.datastacks.com, because it will take longer time for me to answer. And we have to move on. We have half an hour left and I want to move on. And Evgeny, thank you so much for a good addition to the things about certifications we are discussing right now. So, okay. And that's going to be question number 9. And question number 9. Given that a Docker container named main01 was started with a journald logging driver, which Docker command can be used to view its logs? And I'm starting quiz on question number 9. So, Docker logs -f main01, Docker cat-f logs --name main01, Docker logs --name main01, Docker cat-f main01. I have to stop laughing because, well, some of those commands I don't want to hint anything here, but some of those commands looks pretty funny. Oh, there is a question. Can Ops Center be used too with K8ssandra? Prosenjit, I'm sorry, I'm not able to answer right now. Because now K8ssandra is focused first of all on open source Apache Cassandra, which is not so much compatible with Ops Center. If we can run DEC with K8ssandra, therefore Ops Center will make some sense there, but I'm sorry, I'm not able to answer right now. We better talk about that at the community.datastacks.com. And time must be almost over, I guess. I have to say thank to you, ladies and gentlemen. That's an incredible persistence. Nearly no one quit after the beginning of the workshop. That's quite a rare result for such complex streams like this one. We make you think, and it's never easy, but you are doing great. So, let's take a look at the answers. And correct answer was A, of course, not B, not C. So let's take a look. What do you say, David?
Yeah, this one was a memorization question. It's your familiarity with Docker and the Docker command line. Docker logs -f followed by container name displays logs for a container.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on. And what's our next step? Our next step is Leaderboard. And let's take a look what's changed. Okay, that's quite a good job. After 9 questions, well, actually 8 questions, we have 4 people gave all correct answers. One person gave 7 correct answers. Zlatan and Giri with 6-1, and Hustler, Sakura, and Haiwu with 5 correct answers. That is already very good result considering the quite complex questions we have today. So, congrats! And that's going to be question number 10. Which 2 commands can restart a stopped Docker container named node Z? Chose 2. And I'm starting the quiz. Time goes, ladies and gentlemen.
You will notice in this sample quiz and in the real quiz, there are a lot of questions about Docker.
Yep.
And you'll see a lot of questions about Kubernetes that ultimately K8ssandra is built to run Cassandra in Kubernetes and with Docker. So those are the fundamental technologies that underlie K8ssandra, or among the fundamental technologies. And you will find in working with it, you will need to do things like view logs and all the other things you do today in Cassandra, but you'll need to do them in this containerized, orchestrated environment. So lots of stuff on that. And that's why the Docker learning series that Alex has mentioned, which, by the way, I agree is excellent. An excellent introduction to Docker, then follow on to Kubernetes. I've had friends who don't care at all about Cassandra. They say, Dave, how do I get into Docker or Kubernetes? I said, watch those videos. They are on the core technology and they're very, very good.
Yeah, thank you so much. And actually, I've seen you did this already, but I want to copy paste it. I want to send this link again. Here we go. Can we expect Docker questions in the exam? Take a look. What we are doing right now is exactly the demo exam. Yes, you definitely can and should. How can you run Cassandra on Kubernetes without Docker knowledge? So answers are B and D, and it looks like it was pretty easy for him. Very well. So this one is simple. Docker restart and Docker start. Those two can restart a stopped container. Docker run will create a new container, which is wrong considering the task. And there is no Docker resume command. It doesn't exist. So looks like that's it. And we are getting very close to the end. And I'm switching to the question number 11. Which is an advantage of using Reaper over Node-tool to perform repairs? Reaper can do incremental repairs. Reaper can do full repairs. Reaper can repair data when nodes are down. Reaper can schedule repairs. So, quiz started. So, what is the cost of a certification? So fix me if I'm wrong. A normal cost of a certification is about 150, I believe.
Yeah, it's 145 US dollars.
Yep, 145 United States dollars. And DataStax sponsors certification for you. So you just have to learn. Cassandra is great, but Cassandra requires well-trained well-trained engineers, operators, administrators, developers who know what they're doing. So we help you to grow with us and to be on top of the Cassandra world. And Evgeny says, in the past I used it to recommend DC analytics course for everybody who wanted to study Apache Spark. Its level was outstanding. Now, therefore, I have to ask Evgeny, what's wrong? Why don't you do that anymore? I mean, that sounds from the question, from the comment. What now? What's wrong now? Is it outdated or what? So it looks like time is over. So let me switch to the answers. And correct answer was D. D, not A, B, or C. So let's take a look.
Yeah, it looks like there were a variety of answers, but the question wasn't what does Reaper do? It's compare Reaper to Node Tool, which is a command line tool for Cassandra. Node Tool can do incremental repairs as well as Reaper. Both can. Node Tool can also do full repairs. There is no tool that can do a repair when nodes are down. Repair is an active operation that requires the nodes to communicate one with another. What Reaper does that Node Tool doesn't is it can schedule repairs and it can coordinate the scheduling of repairs across a cluster. So Reaper, if you have a very small cluster, a very small number of nodes, you may not care about Reaper. But as your cluster grows and you want to manage and schedule repairs and make sure you're not doing too many repairs on too many nodes at once, that sort of thing, in a large cluster, Reaper is the way to go.
Yep, I've heard what Cassandra version 4 may support scheduled repairs, but in person I didn't check that already. I didn't check that yet, so I cannot confirm or deny that. At least not now. Okay, so let's get to the end. Closer and closer. Question 12. Which tool installs K8ssandra? RPM, yum, helm, apt-get. I'm starting quiz for question 12. So, which tool installs K8ssandra? RPM, yum, helm, apt-get. Actually, I gave you the answer already today, but we gave you a lot of information today, so it's easy to make a mistake. And Evgeny, thank you. Yeah, I see. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. So yes, this course is indeed a little bit not the most up to date. And meanwhile, I see what 5 of you already added me in LinkedIn, and that's incredible. Thank you so much. I'm happy to have you there. And if you didn't but would like to, again, that's the link. You know what, David? From all of the workshops we did, I see those people the most dedicated. Seriously. That's a hard one. Even on much easier ones, we usually have less people in the end, but it looks like it's just... oops, wrong side. So, but you are still there. So, question 12. Answer was C, and most of you gave the right answer. So, what is it? It's Helm. K8ssandra is a Kubernetes application, so it's installed using a Helm chart. And if you use Kubernetes but have no idea what the Helm is, you definitely should take a look at this tool, because it really helps in managing Kubernetes-based applications. And we are so close to the end. And that's a question 13. Consider the following service manifest, which is a valid statement about my service. And I'm launching countdown for this one. There is a question. Kubernetes will be dropping Docker as its runtime engine soon. How could that affect K8ssandra Kubernetes? It will not. In brief, it will not affect K8ssandra on Kubernetes. There are indeed some changes in the Docker engine inside containerd and so on and so forth. It doesn't affect higher level. So we have nothing to worry about here. Yeah, oh, I see David Chang through his LinkedIn as well. And you know what? Oh, okay. Of course, we are friends already on LinkedIn. Perfect.
Yep.
Good. Question from, I'm sorry, Hrvoje Tonkovac. If I'm an expert in Kubernetes, but noob in K8ssandra, should I do K8ssandra or K8ssandra certification or both? So my approach would be basically, why not have both? You can have now both, and K8ssandra on Kubernetes certification is meaningless to me without K8ssandra operations certificate, and with us you can have both and still don't pay for that. So I recommend you to get both. It's absolutely valid situation, and that's perfectly fine. What I would suggest is to one course, data modeling course, is missing in the K8ssandra administration path, and I consider it wrong. So what I would suggest to you is to get the K8ssandra administration certification, K8ssandra certification, and pass the data modeling course on the Academy. It really worth your time, because as an administrator, you need to know the places where developers will make mistakes to save the project. As someone with operations background, I know what I'm speaking about. And data modeling done wrong is the base, it's the best way to ruin K8ssandra performance.
Yep.
And developers will do it, will do the mistake. Like, that's 100%. So they will need someone to cover them and take care of this. So I really recommend to pass data modeling course on the Academy. If you will need any help, if you want to discuss it further, catch me on LinkedIn. I will be happy to communicate and collaborate on that. Yeah, and as Tristan Stanic mentioned, Kubernetes dropped the Docker container engine, not the Docker image format. So basically, it doesn't affect us anyhow. And you can't wait for the answer, I guess. So let me switch that. Correct answer was C, not B, not A, and not D. That's it. And let's take a look on what's going on with the explanation.
Yeah, so if we look at this, we're creating a service manifest, and what a service does is it allows us to expose something. In this case, what we're doing, you'll look at the app. The service name is my service. The selector specifies an app called my app, and it's going to make it available outside the Kubernetes cluster. You look at the two different settings. Well, the protocol there TCP, but the two ports. There's the port and the target port. And this is something that if you do it enough, you figure it out. The port is the port that's exposed. So port 80 is exposed. And when users connect via port 80, what they get is they get directed to port 8080 internally. The target port is the internal port. The port is the external port, which makes C the correct answer because my app's external port is port 80, though internally it's 8080. So C is the correct answer.
Perfect. So we are on the question 14. We have 2 questions left. So stay focused. Don't make a mistake just because you was in a hurry. In K8ssandra, how does Grafana collect Cassandra metrics? Grafana connects directly to Cassandra. Grafana gets Cassandra metrics from Medusa. Grafana gets Cassandra metrics from Reaper. Grafana gets Cassandra metrics from Prometheus. Okay. So I believe this one is one of the most simple questions we ever asked during this workshop. What do you think? Will we have a single mistake or every answer will be correct? Let's take a look. We have like a minute to answer and then we switch to the next question.
And we have kind of answered this one already too, so.
Yeah, so this one must be pretty easy. There must be the next question, where the tool where Grafana gets Cassandra metrics gets metrics from.
There you go.
I don't want to call this tool because, well, that's going to be the answer. And we still have some seconds to answer. And we are almost out of time. And I'm switching to the results. So it was easy. Most of you gave the right answer. Right answer is D, not A. So Grafana does not connect directly to Cassandra because Grafana doesn't store data. It's just a tool to visualize them. So, David.
Yeah, and we talked about that before. Remember, we said that Prometheus connects using JMX as a framework, and we said, both of us, I think, used the exact phrase that Prometheus is part of the Grafana stack or Prometheus Grafana stack. So Prometheus sits near Cassandra and interrogates it via JMX. Then Grafana gets data from Prometheus. So that's how that works. It's one of those things that once you know it, you'll know it. And you won't have to worry about it much after that.
By the way, David, do you know today is a special day in the field of Grafana-Cassandra communication?
I did not.
Yeah, because it's a very fresh news and very limited amount of people in the world know that. So take a look. Grafana is a data visualization tool, so it's very often used for data visualization for metrics. And if you wanted to monitor and understand Cassandra cluster status in Grafana, this stack, Cassandra to Prometheus to Grafana, exists for a long time. And it's not a big deal now to get your metrics from Cassandra and see them on Grafana. But when we speak about data stored in Cassandra, and Cassandra is used very often to store time series data, then you may also want to visualize data in Grafana, like Internet of Things, reports, temperature sensor networks, whatever basically you want, you can visualize in Grafana. But before today, there was no simple and direct way to put your data in Grafana. And actually today, finally, A data source for Grafana, I was working for quite a long time, not only me, but also a team of community developers. It's an open source project. It was finally merged by Grafana team, and now it's available as a public open source data source, Cassandra to Grafana to visualize not metrics, but data this time. And that's a big day to me. I'm going to celebrate it today.
Very cool.
Yep. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be last question. Question number 5. Given the output from this command, which is a valid statement about some really long meaningless pod name 2? And I'm starting the countdown right now. There is a good question of Giri Prasad. How Kubernetes changes Cassandra take on CAP as Kubernetes bring in self-healing capabilities. So, by itself, Kubernetes doesn't affect anyhow CAP theorem. And if you have no idea what's the CAP theorem, you must watch our Intro to Cassandra workshop. In short, yes, Kubernetes brings self-healing capabilities, but there is no way to change how CAP theorem works and how consistency level and replication factors in Cassandra work. So with Cassoperator and K8ssandra, there is a lot of self-healing capabilities thanks to Kubernetes, of course. Does it affect CAP? No, it doesn't. You still have to decide. You see, there is still old good joke. Job can be done quick or cheap or in a high quality, and you can pick only 2 qualities out of those 3. Job cannot be done quick, cheap, and in a good quality. If it's quick and cheap, it's going to be bad quality. And the same with CAP, you have to decide between partition tolerance and availability, or partition tolerance and consistency. With immediate consistency of Cassandra, I believe we reached the golden middle of this combination, let's say. Okay, so I forgot to vote on time, but doesn't matter. Let me then switch to the answers. And correct answer is answer B. Not A, not C, and not D. And why? That's what David will tell us.
It looks like there was a range of answers here. One thing I do want to point out about this question, the reason that it has some really long name or meaningless pod name is because there are questions on the exam where you will be asked to look at the output from a command like the get pods command, and you may, in the test engine may have trouble displaying long names and long command output on a single line, so you may have to scroll left to right. I'll just warn you about that. In our previous exams, we had some issues with that. People said, oh, I didn't know we had to scroll, and they didn't see the full answer. So keep in mind, we'll warn you when you may have to scroll, and it's a horizontal scroll that you may have to do. So the question is here, which of these is a valid statement? The pod null containers are running. I don't think anyone guessed that. The answer is B. The pod in one of its containers is running, because you'll notice some really long meaningless pod name 2 is the last pod here. You see its status is running. So we know the pod is running, but its ready state is listed as 1 of 2. That 1 of 2 are containers. The pod is intended to have 2 containers running. And now this isn't a failure state. This may be starting up. So there may not be anything wrong. It's just at this point in time, when this get pods command was run, 1 of the 2 pods in the container is or was running, and the other one is not. So we just want, again, working with Kubernetes, you're going to do these commands like get pods to look at the status. And this is this question really is asking, can you read this status?
Yep. And you know what? It was question number 15 out of 15 questions. So now you can't wait to see the leaderboard. And I understand that. So let's take a look. Oops, wrong side. So let's take a look at the leaderboard. And we have some people made mistakes, and we had some people gave perfect answers. And it's a tie. Aparn W, and Daniel made a perfect job giving all of the correct answers, 14 out of 15, because first one was failed thanks to Menti. And Skids and Gabans gave 12 right answers. Giri and Haivu and actually Evgeny Ignatiev 11 correct answers, and Hustler 10, Zlatan 10, and Gigi 9. There are some more people, but Menti shows us only 10. Sorry, I can't make it show the whole table. But you know your
and
result.
Alex,
yep.
Out of the abbreviated, because we only counted 14 of the questions, the passing percentage of 70 would be 10.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of people who passed the sample exam, and I hope that translates into passing the real certification exam as well.
Yep. So take a look at the next slide. Oops. Where is this? Oh, okay. It's on my bad. Take a look at this slide. 14,000. So each correct answer was worth 1,000, 15 questions, but one we don't count. Passing exam grade is 70. If that were a real test, you would need 11,000 points to pass. But one question was broken, sorry. So basically somewhere between 10 and 11,000 points will be the number to pass. And we congratulate you if you are here already, but if you don't, that's perfectly fine. That's a quite complex exam. And what's next then? Before we proceed with the resources, 2 questions. Oh, actually 1 question. We ask what should we improve for the future workshops, which asks for negative feedback. But I want to ask you for every kind of a feedback you may give. What did you like? What you didn't like too much? What really could we improve? What topics we have to consider? It's an open question, so feel free to give as much answers as you want. And thank you so much. And I mean, David, that's incredible how many warm, great answers we are getting. That's lovely. So I will keep this slide.
It looks great.
Yeah, I will keep this slide open within half an hour after the workshop, so you can give us more feedback. We will read it all, but now I have to switch back to the presentation with the resources. So, David.
All right, so as Alex has said before, the core resources can all be reached through datastacks.com/dev. That's our developer site. There's a lot of stuff on there. You'll see the certification. You'll see the hands-on learning series with Katacoda developer stories, all sorts of information there. And we do have, some of you asked about learning basic Cassandra. You said, I remember a couple of you said, hey, I know Kubernetes pretty well, but I don't know Cassandra very well. We also have our classic courses at DataStax Academy that are Intro to Cassandra. And as Alex said, we have Intro to Cassandra, Cassandra Operations or Administration, and then that data modeling course, which is crucial. Data modeling, Cassandra is not just new syntax. It's a different way of looking at data, thinking about data, and modeling data. So that's really a crucial course in your understanding of Cassandra. So if you're not that familiar with Cassandra, I'd encourage you to start there and work your way up to this. But appreciate everybody hanging on too. We still have 46 even now at the very end, Alex. So great job, everybody. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, that's incredible. And yeah, so regarding the developer resources, it's all discussed already. Join community datastacks.com, answer questions, ask questions, share your expertise. Follow us, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Well, Twitch is quite forgotten, but for YouTube, it definitely will work. Materials for this one are published already. Question for certification coupons. You don't need one from this workshop, because you get one for your exam when you pass K8ssandra training, and this one will be enough. Evgeny, thank you. Thank you, Como. Thank you, Alfonso. Thank you, everyone. That was incredible time. And don't forget to contact us in case you have any questions. We will be happy to help. That basically it. We are done for today. For Dvani Shah, credits for Astra. Astra credits you can get on tomorrow workshop on Wednesday and Thursday, not on Tuesday one. So see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to, oh, by the way, tomorrow we present Introduction to Cassandra. So if you have no prior experience with Cassandra, welcome tomorrow, same time, or Thursday, different time zone. Jump in, we will talk about Cassandra fundamentals. As David says, and that's perfectly correct, Cassandra is different. Cassandra query language may look similar to SQL, but don't get into the trap. Knowing SQL is not enough to be successful with Cassandra. So that's it, and if you want some music in the end, that's what you are going to have. Some music to enjoy your victory and newly learned knowledge. David, thank you so much. That's an incredible workshop, and I believe it helped to our attendees a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Always happy to be a host. And most of all, thank you, everyone. That was David Chang and Aleksandr Volochnev, DataStax Developer Relations team, and we happy to see how you are getting better engineers, passing your certifications, and solving more and more complex tasks with ease. Have a great time and see you again. Have fun.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Been through a couple of shipwrecks, so glad it's over with my ex. But we stay afloat cause you're my index. Seeing clearly now, don't need Windex. Zooming in what's important, I don't need the context. I know less is more when you keep my data in check. Hey, I think you're the best for me.